Let's pray. Father in heaven, I ask you to open your Bibles to Hosea chapter 1, verse 1 and 2. Mettez-nous pour lire ensemble Hosea chapitre 1, verset 1 à 2. Hosea chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. Hosea chapitre 1, verset 1 à 2. The word of the Lord came to Hosea, the son of Beeri, in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel. When the Lord began to speak by Hosea, the Lord said to Hosea, "Go, take yourself a wife of harlotry, and children of harlotry, for the land has committed great harlotry by departing from the Lord." I imagine Hosea is in the field somewhere, taking his leisurely walk, when God speaks to him. God asks Hosea, "Go, find and marry a whore." Go, find and marry a whore.
Yeah.
I imagine Hosea, as obedient as he is, makes his way down to, let's say, Northwest 79th Street. And during the midnight hour, he goes down and he
weddings I can have more than one wife.
Gomer. Nous ne connaissons pas combien de temps Hosea avec Gomer il était fait ménage. Mais nous connaissons qu'il était marié. Hosea represents God's unconditional love for us. Gomer represents us and our consistent unfaithfulness to him. Il va prendre un temps pour nous joindre Gomer retourner sur ancien style de vie. It didn't take time to find Gomer returning to her old lifestyle as the lady of the street, selling her body for money. Moi, quand imaginez, bon Dieu parle avec Osée encore, il dit, Osée, à chercher madame. Moi, quand imaginez Osée a marché dans tout partout Miami, la frapper toute porte. Oh, Gomer, côté. I imagine Gomer opens the door and Hosea sees Gomer only sleeping in another man's bed. I imagine Gomer gets up, wraps herself up, and leaves with Hosea and thinks to herself, why does this man keep looking for me after I treat him this way? The Bible tells us that Hosea and Gomer, they had a child. His name was Jezreel, and later on they had a daughter, and her name was Lo-Ruhamah. Jezreel means I will scatter. Lo-Ruhamah means I will not pity. Now the judgment of God was being expressed through the names of the children. Young people, I would like to remind you that the secret stuff that mommy and daddy don't know about, the secret stuff that our parents don't know about, today I want to remind you that they will come to the light. L'église me fait changer bagay secret que nous avons caché, nous pensons aucun monde pas ouais. Mais me fait changer mon Dieu ouais tout bagay. I remember when I was younger, my parents were stepping out and they told me, "Stay in the house, don't get out." They said it just like that. And after they left, in about 30 seconds, I went back outside anyway. And I went to go play with the cat. I was racing with the cat or something. And as I was running with the cat cut in front of me, and I tripped and fell on my arm. As I fell on my arm, I got up and I saw that there's blood on my shirt. The cut was so bad that I could see the meat inside of my skin. I started to cry. I wasn't crying because I was in pain. I was crying because I didn't know what I was going to tell my parents.
You fell off the bed.
So I ran back inside and I took some napkins, I took some tape, and I made some kind of band-aid of something. And I went into my room, I closed the door, and I went to sleep, and I prayed that my parents wouldn't find out.
Or long
Later
sleeves.
that night, I was awakened, I think it was later that night or the next morning, I was awakened by my mom. And she was like, "What is this?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "Look." And as I looked, I saw that the bed was filled with blood. My sheets were filled with blood. All of my clothes were filled with blood. And I was like, OMG. Oh my God, what am I going to say? So I told my mom what happened. And after a few seconds, I saw the biggest, fattest belt I have ever seen. I don't know what happened after that. I think I fainted or something. But the point is the things that we think we keeping from our parents will come to the light. You guys know the saying, what comes around goes around. What goes up must come down. Can you imagine if the walls could talk? If the walls could talk, si New can parler, qui secret you can see? What kind of freaky things they could talk about the things that we are doing. In Galatians 6 verse 7, God says, "Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked," meaning that you can't play God. Man reaps what he sows. It's just a matter of time. You see, you can control your choices, but you cannot control your consequences. Once you've made a decision, it is out of your hands. That's why as young people, it is important for us to choose wisely. Dans le temps osé, Israël était divisé en sections. Mais il y a une section dans Israël qui était plus populaire. Section c'est appelée Ephraim. Nous qui vivons dans Ephraim étaient fiers pour héritage parce que dans section ça nous joignent Josué. Dans section ça nous joignent prophète Samuel. Nous étions fiers des héritages. Ephraim était venu gagner un pile monde et un pile richesse. But the richer that Ephraim got, the more their heart moved away from God. Now, God is not against prosperity. God is not against success. We all know what's the definition, the worldly definition of success and prosperity. But here is the spiritual definition. Success is the fulfillment of divine purpose. And prosperity is having enough divine provisions to overcome obstacles. So the more Ephraim got, the more they moved away from God. Now let's be honest. Let's be real. When we didn't have much, we were so close to God. And nous pas bien en rien, nous pas bien en pile bataille, nous étions tout près pour Dieu. I remember when I was younger, I had these Spider-Man shoes. And I wore those shoes to church, to school, for PE, gym. I think I wore it to a wedding one time. Those were the only pairs of shoes that I had, and those shoes was to last me the whole entire year.
That's patience for you, boy.
When we didn't have much, we were close together as families and as churches. But things have changed. Getting a high position in a job, iPods, HD TV, cell phones, huge salaries, all of these things are hard to carry without God. If our spiritual life is not controlling our material life, then infidelity, cheating, is on the way. Si vie spirituelle nous pas qu'à contrôler vie matérielle, then à tout près infidélité. And that's what happened to Ephraim. They allowed their material life to take over their spiritual life. Now, one word we can get from all of this is idolatry. Everybody say idolatry.
Idolatry.
Idolatry was the weakness of this great nation of Ephraim, and idolatry is the weakness of our young generation today. When we're talking about idolatry, we are talking about idol worship. Kounya nous joint Ephraim à adorer idole dans le temple Baal, et ils ont fait prostitution dans le temple. So the people of Ephraim found themselves attending the service of Baal